Hi, this is Glenda, and today I'm making cold process soap. I have here the oils, which are at 44 Celsius or 111 Fahrenheit, and I will include a link of the oils in the description box. This is the light water solution, which is distilled water mixed with sodium hydroxide, and I also show you the temperature. It was pretty much at room temperature. And I'm adding now sodium lactate. This is just to help me unmold the soap more quickly. From the mold, I will be using a silicone mold, which tends to create a very tight, airtight seal. So this helps remove it without having to wait too long. So now I'm going to add the light water solution to the oils, and I'm just going to start mixing them with a spatula. And later on, I'm going to start using the stick blender. But for now, I just want to get an initial mix with just the spatula. With the blender, I'm going to just do short bursts because I want to get it to an emulsion point, but I don't want it to get it to the trace point because the fragrance that I'm using it for the first time. So in case it accelerates, I want to have it on the earlier stages rather than the medium ones. I don't want it to be too thick. The fragrance is blood orange. Now, citrus fragrance tend to usually behave, and this one actually did, and it did not cause any discoloration. So I'm happy to have used it. It is a very strong, almost like a bitter orange smell, which I thought the orange smell will go well with the fragrance of the embeds that I will be using, which is pretty much like chopped embeds, and I'm putting them right now. These are leftover pieces from another soap, and in case you're wondering, it was a soap that I made for the Soap Coral Challenge, and it was the Starry Night theme that I had made. I shaved a lot of soap from the surface to get to see the curls, and I had a lot of it, a lot left over, and I wanted to use it a lot because I had used a very nice fragrance, which was eucalyptus spearmint, and that also had some essential oils in it. So I didn't want these soap scraps to go to waste. And I'm trying to disperse it thoroughly so that the new liquid soap can actually adhere well to them and there won't be any air pockets. And I did consider the fragrance of the scraps um, when considering what fragrance to use in the new soap, in the fluid soap that you see now. And I thought, or actually I read that orange and mint tends to go well together. And it kind of did, although at the end, because the orange is a fragrance oil versus the other ones that have a strong essential oil element, the orange seems to be stronger than the embeds. But it smells nice regardless. And I had brought the soap batter to light trays before adding the embeds because I did not want all of the embeds to sink at the bottom. I wanted the soap batter to have some density, some weight, so that it will support the weight of the embeds as well, and they just wouldn't be sinking at the bottom. And last time I made a confetti soap, I was running short of soap batters, so in this case I made more, and in case I did too much, I did have a cavity mold close by to pour any excess, which is what I did in this case, and I did add more soap scraps on top because I did notice that some spots could take it, and I really wanted to use all of my leftovers. I didn't want to have leftovers of the leftovers. The last time I made a confetti soap, it was for the chameleon soap, and some of the, not all of them, but very few of the chopped pieces did fall off the main soap, and it was probably because they had been dry, they had been fairly exposed to air. So in this case, after I chopped the pieces into smaller pieces, I kept them inside a bag, like a Ziploc bag, so that they will remain moist, and that meant that they will stick to the new soap batter much better. And it did work because I didn't have any issues of any of the pieces popping out with this soap. Initially, I was only going to use the blue scraps, but in the end I decided to also use the green ones since I figured those two colors are well close together. Now, last time I made a Lapis Lazuli soap, it looked like this, and it was a very plain top, but I did add some texture later. This time, though, I didn't want the gemstones to be by themselves, and since I did not have enough Lapis Lazuli embeds, I did use some of my other gemstone embeds, as you will see later. Before that, though, I wanted to add some sparkle and some shimmer to the surface by just putting some mica. Well, in this case, I started with enviro glitter, which is environmentally friendly glitter made with minerals and plant pigments, I believe. And then I also use some micas. I'm using the broken tip of a brush to disperse it, and it actually wasn't as good as if I had used a more fluffy brush. The fluffier brushes tend to grab and also release fine powders more easily. So next time I'm going to try that instead. Dispersing the micas in oil would have also worked good, and I could have done perhaps some swirls on top, but for now I just decided to do just the sprinkling with the micas. I chose mainly just the neutral colors like silver, white, and gold, which is not so neutral, just so that the turquoise and the lapis lazuli and all the other embeds could make a good contrast against them. And the way of making the lapis lazuli embeds is very similar to the way to make the turquoise embeds, except you choose a deeper and darker blue color for your soap. And I do have a video on the making of this, so I will probably include it also in the description box below. So the next day they were ready to be cut, and I put them on the side because I had put the mica and the glitter on top so that it wouldn't drag into the rest of the bar. And it was actually fairly easy to cut with the wire cutter because the confetti part was still relatively soft. Not super soft, but it was moist enough that it didn't give me a hard time trying to cut it. And I do like the effect. It seems to me to have a little bit of a mosaic effect, and because of the fragrances complement each other very well, I'm actually very happy with these soap bars. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.